already A-Rob.
What's crack-a-lackin'? It's Tommy the Disciple.
And we're back here again after some technical difficulties. But, you know, I had to put my technical hard hat on. We got another smooth, light episode of Relationship Dynamics.
Hey.
And let's get into our very first segment.
Valid or not?
Tommy.
Let's get it. Here we go.
Comes from my wife's car. Every few weeks she dumps it all out and she hopes I'm
Wait,
the one
let's start again.
All this stuff down here comes from my wife's car. Every few weeks she dumps it all out and she hopes I'm the one that puts it all away. And this used to frustrate the crap out of me. She takes the kids to soccer practice, she does her grocery shopping, and I feel like everything that's in the car should be her responsibility to put away, just like how I have to clean my car. This thing used to always get us into argument. When I really thought about it, she's asking me to do something that's going to lighten her load a little bit. That's literally going to take me 10 or 15 minutes. If you really want to help with the mental load in your relationship, you have to realize that everything does not need to be understood at the time. It just takes action. And action does not mean that you need to understand what's going on. It means just doing it. And what's getting in your way of doing it is ego and principles. Principles can be addressed later. Ego could be put aside. And action and time can be done now. Put your ego aside. Don't think about the principles and just do it. Because it's really not that big of a deal. And it'll save heartache and headache in your relationship. I guarantee it. Now let me put all this stuff away.
Woo! Get the slow jams, the jazz to end that. Jeez. Valid or not? Valid or not? What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
For me, it's 100%. I would say it's 100% valid for me, and I guess the reason why I say that is the world, or maybe just signs, have been just reminding me that relationships are work, and maybe because when you get in a relationship, you kind of know people who are in relationships, like deep in it. It's like how they talk and the tone,
right.
And like there's like deafness. When I say deafness in the tone, it's like you just know when someone's been in the trenches. So like when homeboy was talking, he's like, I've been telling my girl this.
Right, exactly.
Because I think people get exhausted when they really care and they're trying to put their best foot forward, and they're really trying to think of like the best like systematic way rather than what, like he said, which I love that he said, you know, can I just give my partner the relief and then we can work on the system later?
Right.
And I felt that because that's the work in the relationship.
Right.
Prioritize. So I would say it's 100% valid.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree because it's funny because when I first watched the video, there was a part of me that was like, I kind of feel wronged by this because she's leaving her stuff for him to just pick up. Yeah. So part of me, I was like, whoa, why is she... Whoa. But then, as he explained it more, and as I thought about it more, and I was like, okay, you know, this makes sense. Like, this is something that you can do to take off, like a mental load, like he said, take off a mental load from his wife and everything. And that's what, I mean, honestly, us, if we're in relationships or even in friendships or your family, friends, whatever it may be, like that should be what we should, I don't want to say what should be, but that's what I feel like we should try and, you know, do is like help our significant others, help our friends, our loved ones, just have a lighter load. So, just for example, like maybe like you're doing dishes, someone may like just leave it on the sink, but you just go and do it without being asked, not being like, oh, why didn't you do the dishes? But it's just more so like doing that to take the pressure off of what they had to do and everything. So it's interesting. Shout out to that guy, him doing the good work, being a good husband, and just taking the load off of his wife. It's hard. It's hard, I'm sure.
Tommy's definitely better than me because I ain't got no video for y'all today. Because your boy has been overtime. Like the weekends don't feel like the weekend right now. But my valid or not comes from I'm gonna try to do maybe like a personal experience / real life. And I guess my question for all of you all is valid or not? Is it valid or not if you outgrow friendships?
Girl friendships?
Outgrow friendships.
Oh, I was like, oh, girl friendships. Like, ooh, that's a tough one. If you're in a relationship, I thought, ooh, outgrow friendships. I think so, yeah. It's For me, it's like there's no it's like no hard feelings. Like you're not even like there's a season, there's a time and place for everything. Some friends that you had, let's say in high school, some friends that you had in college, some friends that you may have had last year or whatever, are not going to be the same friends that you have right now. Some friends it's going to be easy for you to pick back up after not talking for a while, and some friends it may be the opposite. So I don't think it's bad to outgrow friendships, but I also do think it's good to work in them and try and grow in them. But it's not wrong if you outgrow them. I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah. I was actually recently listening to a podcast, and one of the podcasts talked about as people we get rooted in when a friendship doesn't work, and there was like a longitudinal study where they're actually, it makes sense. They were saying that every 10 years you get a new cycle of friends.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And they said it's it's natural for that to happen because certain people go different ways.
Right, exactly.
And I just know I remember myself staying rooted in like friendships that were in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, where I was like, we're supposed to. And I just, for me, I'm just kind of like, oh, that makes sense. And how like the psychologist broke it down and like human like development. I was like, so it kind of like reframed my thought of like, if you outgo friendship is like that, like a bad thing. Now, obviously, if something like super egregious happened, like I totally get it. But like I'm talking about like the more natural flows
people
of like
moving, getting married, different seasons of life.
Yeah, because it would kind of. Because the guy was kind of breaking down where you kind of taint the time you did spend with them because you're so focused on that it's not there. And I was like, damn.
Right. Dang, that's true. You're just focusing on what was rather than like what is right now. That's so true. That's real. That's real. Yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with outgrowing friendships as long as you said nothing egregious, nothing crazy happened. That's life, people, things end, things change. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Things do change.
Yeah. Seasons change, things change.
But one thing that doesn't change is
God. I'm just wait a second. Let's stop. Read the piano in the back. Oh gosh, that's funny.
Hey, what the rebrand? We're gonna have some ad libs.
Oh yeah,
we gotta capture that one. God,
and God says,
what the fuck? Do that again.
And God, I can't even do it again. Oh gosh, and God says.
You know how those like YouTubers be like reacting stuff and then they have they're like, I need it.
Oh gosh,
like we need some shit. Like we need some people on the soundboard playing some to enhance the bullshit.
Sheesh.
That's an ad-lib we need when you're not here. Sheesh.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
See, would you enjoy that?
I would. I'm not gonna lie. I would like that.
I got you. So T,
let's get it.
What's our first topic for today? You hit me with
oh yes. So I was listening to. You mentioned you were listening to the podcast. I was listening to a podcast this past week, and it was titled "The Guide to Being Brave in Relationships." And I'll say that again: The Guide, GUIDE, to Being Brave in Relationships. And a lot of it was just talking about like vulnerability, egos, fighting fair, and all that kind of stuff. So at least first question I would even just think of is when you hear that. Just that title itself, like what comes to mind when you hear The Guide to Being Brave in Relationships?
For me, if I'm gonna be honest with you, it puts on like my work hat as a therapist. I think so I'm trying not to be too long-winded to answer your question. When I do couples therapy, one of my things I talked about is you got to have a brave space, and being in a brave space is you have to be brave enough to say what's on your mind, and that's only one half, because the other half is it an emotionally safe space, and then if you mix a brave space and a safe space together, you get an emotionally safe environment, because your actions and your emotions have to be safe enough and brave enough for you to say what's on your mind. So when you say that, bravery is such a strong thing because you gotta be brave enough to be like, hey babe, your breath's hot.
right.
Can you brush your teeth?
And that's funny. And even to even like take it further, do you feel like, and I feel like I kind of know the answer of what you might say, but to take it further, do you feel like whose part is it on to have that bravery? Is it on you to be brave, or is it on the significant other to be like, create that space?
You go, okay, you gonna give me the answer you think. I'm gonna answer straight up. It takes it on both people.
Right.
Both people need to be brave. Even if you're in the strategical, and I'll even go with the Star Wars analogy, if you got the high ground. Even if you have the high ground, you have to be brave enough to allow that person to, you know, make that leap and make that jump. Because even if you're morally right with what's going on, I just know if someone meets me with force, humans were naturally defensive. I'm gonna be like,
right.
Meaning, if you really want to solve that problem, can you make it safe enough or brave enough for that person to say, this is my logic point? Because even if you understanding someone is not okaying the bad behavior. It's understanding where it's coming from. And I feel like people get that like trippy where I'm like, if I just understand where they're coming from or show empathy and sympathy towards their understanding, that's giving them an excuse. No, a real partner who's taking accountability is going to be like, this, I just want to tell you why I'm doing this, because it might come from a good place, but the impact isn't good, and they need to see
100%. And that's so funny that you said that, because even in the podcast, one of the things you mentioned of like understanding where that's coming from, and even just putting those feelings out there, was she brought up a scenario of like when there was a couple talking about she gave an example. There was a couple, her in-laws were coming into town, and then she was like, hey, my in-laws are coming into town, my parents are coming into town. I volunteered them to use our bedroom, sleep in our bedroom. Is that cool with you? And then the guy was like, hey, you know I don't sleep well, when I sleep on the couch and we don't sleep in our bed, what's going on? And then she went on to be like, what's going on with you? Like, my parents are coming into town, why aren't you being empathetic to like us giving the room and all that kind of stuff too? So then the lady who was talking and giving the example in the podcast was saying, from that example, there's so many different things that could have been done in that story. So with being brave, the guy could have been, hey, I love the fact that your parents are coming into town, but I don't really sleep well when I'm on the couch. Can you please let me know why you volunteered our bedroom? And then for her, even in the example, she was like, oh, like, you're not putting in the effort, da-da-da-da-da-da. But for her, she could have been like, hey, my parents are coming into town. I really want to give them a safe space. Are you okay with them using our bedroom? Rather than like volunteering already, rather than like chastising him for not being somebody who was okay with like her parents and everything like that, like give the emotion that she had, whether it's her feeling anxious, give the feeling that she had, and then give him the opportunity to respond, rather than like just doing something and then criticizing him for it. That's not fighting fair. That's not fighting fair. But then being brave in that scenario would have been to give the emotions that she was feeling and then ask him for his response. That's bravery. That's giving him the opportunity to reject, potentially giving him the opportunity to say no. So like they were kind of just using that more of an analogy of like giving our significant others, whether it's friends, families, loved ones, the opportunity to like potentially like reject. That's a vulnerable place. That's being brave in relationships. But I mean, give your 2 cents.
No.
Your therapist hat. What do you think?
So I'm about to break this down for y'all. Watch this. Y'all know how, and ladies, you gonna be mad at me. Y'all know how when dudes are like, you going to that concert? And they say, why you wearing that? I'm uncomfortable. You know what y'all gonna be saying? You insecure.
I gotcha.
That may be half of it.
No, it's true. Exactly. And it's okay. Yeah.
And there's no wrong. And see, this is a cultural thing.
Exactly.
I say persistent insecurity that comes from the inward, when I mean like the inward, it's coming from like the pits, because we all have a level of insecurity of whatever. But if it's like a constant thing, then it's a problem. But if it's like, hey babe, I just want you to be, a little bit careful, because I know how them niggas be doing.
Exactly.
I'm only saying this because I want you, to be around. And men are territorial, because I say, when you call out someone's insecurity like that, and just staying in the example, kind of like now back to like answer your question, right? I think you're missing an opportunity to understand that person and to connect the bridge. And then I don't want to say correct the bad behavior, but I want to say not correct, but connect to that bad behavior, and connect it in a way where there is reassurance, there is love, and all you gotta do is ask.
Right, exactly.
Because no, I can't. No, you can't stop her from going out. No, you can't stop potentially her parents, because you've already asked. You already told the parents the bed is gone.
Right.
There might be like, next time, can you let me know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or, all right, this has already happened. What can I do to make you a little bit more comfortable? Because I've already told my parents, and you know how I am with my family, type shit.
Exactly.
Do you get what I'm
100%. And that stuff, like that softness, you know what I mean? That softness of like kind of what you said. Next time, let me know. That takes bravery. That takes like being vulnerable. That takes like checking your ego and like looking out for the other person and stuff. So that was a really, really beautiful example, or a good example of just ways to be brave in relationships. And yeah, I thought it was a really, really good example. But that whole podcast in general it shed light on how we can be more softer, how we can be, but not even softer. Because even like Brene Brown, she talks about like vulnerability being like a strength and being like a really, really good thing. Yeah. So like that softness, you have to kind of be comfortable in that softness, and you and your significant other have to create that space. And sometimes you have to lead the way. But yeah, I think it's interesting.
Bro, you said something I'm trying to work on. If we playing no games, right? If we playing no games, leading, it's just leading with softness and leading by example. It's so fucking hard. Reflecting. I feel like I'm a pretty patient, optimistic type of a dude, because like, hopelessness is like a bottomless pit, and like when you're constantly like in a cycle with someone, if you don't have that north star of hope, it's like, all right, I see this bit of progress, we should celebrate that. All right, we made it this far, we finally made it. Like all those steps to the process is loving the game, and that's just how my mind is. So like when people struggle to see that, and it's always, but it's not the treasure, it gets on my nerves, because they always say it's never truly the treasure at the end, it's the journey. Exactly. And like as I get older, I'm understanding that better, because I'm fighting myself, because it's supposed to look like this, but do you know what that looked like for us to even get to the halfway mark? That's equally as great as the treasure, because look at the man, look at the woman that you became to like get that far. So I kind of like look at that where like I thought I do have a lot of patience. And leading by example, I had to bust my own ceiling. And I think people, because this is not a gender thing, I think as people, we get so rooted in it has to be like this. And I think when they say love is patient is when you know you're in a dark time, or you know your person is struggling up against something, and that is taking that 10 extra minutes to be like, that's not like that, even though that's their work that they have to do. And I'll end with this. I say when I'm working with my couples, don't say that. I'll cut that out. I'll say every relationship is worth $1 million. And I always say this: would you want to have 30% of $1 million right now?
You want the whole thing, or you want?
T, I have a question. Is 30% of $1 million enough for you?
I mean, Right now, what is 30% of a million? $300K? No, 30% of $1 million. The math, 300K.
Yeah,
is that 300K? I mean,
that'd be cool.
Check our math.
That would be cool, right?
Right. I mean,
that'd
be good.
You would feel that,
I
right?
mean, I would, exactly. Yeah, that's good money. That's good money.
That's what support is.
Yeah.
If you're a partner, you have to do 30%.
Right.
300K, yeah, you feeling that. Like
right,
you
exactly.
it's a little bump.
Right.
But the rest of that 700, that's you. And noticing when you are in that, like, I gotta stay in my 30%, 300K range, like, that's a lot of oomph. And I say to my couples, like, that's the $1 million ratio, that's the $1 million relationship, because when you are staying in that, you're really changing the game. You're really changing life, because I think as a society we forget that relationships are work, and we just have this expectation that if I say it one time, I say it 2 times, I say it 3 times, say it 4 times. But a relationship is about longevity, and the work, that 30% is like, all right, am I exceeding my 30%? Am I not? And if I am exceeding my 30%, for how long? Because my person may need it in this season of life, and being able to talk and breathe life into them, until it gets back to the regular equilibrium of that's your 70, this is my 30.
Right. Gotcha. So, no, that makes sense. I mean, that's true. That's real. And I guess even just going back, taking a few steps back, rewinding. So the example you mentioned of, the guy and the girl going out, how would you address that scenario? Give us some game on how to be brave and how to be soft and how to deal with that.
I'll talk about a brave moment in my relationship. Believe it or not, I would say I start a lot of my brave moments with light humor, and then because I think light humor and laughing at a bit of your pain and laughing about and like letting them know that it's not serious, but it is serious. I think that's a good way to lean into bravery, in my opinion, at least in my own relationship. And I guess I more or less lean towards my own partner going to the Chris Brown concert, because I was like, I was like, hey, so if Chris Brown call you on stage,
or Usher,
I'm like, so like,
right.
I'm not saying that you can't dance,
right,
but like, would you do that if I was right there in the flesh? Meaning, if you go, bust it open for a real one, or hobgobbling that cherry, then I'm in a wrong relationship. Let's have a conversation.
Right.
Or
the cherry comment.
I'm so sorry.
That's so funny, bro. That's hilarious. Oh gosh.
I'll say this. As I'll kind of answer your question a little bit too as well. Maybe this is a horrible example, but I think, because I think your example is asking me like how to deal with like insecurity and
just like more so like that scenario in itself,
or like conflict.
Specific, no, like the scenario you mentioned of so your girl is going out looking all maybe whatever you're not okay with it, and then she's thinking, oh, you're being insecure. Like, first of all, like, how would you have brought up those, like, how would you have just handled that scenario, that situation?
So okay,
like when she first comes downstairs after whatever she's wearing, and then you see her there.
So I'll answer that as it is. I think for me, I think I would have to start off with a compliment, saying like, baby girl looking, like a scoop of Ben and Jerry's, saying delicious,
looking icy.
And I would, I think for me, I think I would have to be honest. I would be like, yeah, like I'm pretty jealous that you chose this outfit, right, to go with your girls, but with me, I got teacher Ann Sue. I'm like, we about to go, right. I would say that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And then I would have to potentially, deal with the backlash of that. And because she might say, well, she might, I'm trying to like legitimately think about like what my person actually might say. I think she would engage with that, but I think from my standpoint, I think I would have to own that the fit is good, and I'm just a little jealous slash insecure slash like disappointed that you didn't wear that with me. Because I'm just trying to grab on something because you looking good. But it's also like my barber once told me, you know, when you're feeling jealous, the opposite of it is appreciation. Like at the same time, I gotta show some appreciation that, man, my girl looks good. Like I'm mad that I can't go, but like I also don't want to take away from that moment, but also in a way where it's kind of like, how do I big her up, and how do I maybe like, you know, open it up where like I get a version of that outfit the next time we go out type shit.
Gotcha.
But I think it's truth, honesty, and a bit of humor.
Yeah. So when, at least for me, when I hear that too, it's like what I'm hearing is you're being open and honest about the feeling. And like making that known, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. 'Cause I think for me, sometimes if I hear that, you know, I hear different stories and different scenarios. Yeah. And people just lead with, you can't go out looking like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But what I'm hearing is like, for you, you're okay with being open and honest about how that makes you feel, then letting her know, and then kind of just having the conversation go from there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, that's good. That's amazing. And I think for me, that is probably one of the healthier things to do. Yeah. Because it's easier in my mind to just be like, it's easier to just to state the obvious. Oh, I just don't like that. But it's harder to state what is the reason behind the reason. What is the feeling behind the reason? And I think being able to bear that is being brave in a relationship, is being honest and putting yourself out there to be like, oh, it's not just this, there's something behind it, and there's a feeling behind it.
And I think, fellas, we have to understand our women have to feel some level of like, they want to feel sexy, they want to feel attractive, or like, I feel like just as much as they want to do it for them, they want to do it for themselves. And I think in our worries, we can sometimes cut down that tree of sexiness for them, because, you know, there's a lot of energy and effort that goes into it. Where like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm an outfit guy 110%. Like how a chick dress, you know, to me, chef's kiss. I like the flexibility. Can you be a street girl? Can you go? Well, that's the streetwear girl to like, you know, I mean,
for the streets.
Not saying that, but you know what I'm saying, the flexibility, because. So I'm gonna be super honest with you. There are like out there outfits I'm like, nah, that's not for me. And then there's like none outfits I'm like, nah,
it's not valid.
All I'm saying is I love when a girl can like leave something to the imagination, where it's kind of like, where I'm like, oh shit, I did not know that you can make this patch of your forearm look. I'm like, god damn, I wasn't even thinking about that. I love like style like that, where it's like accentuating their best features, but also it's like so subtle, it's still like a pow in your face.
Right.
You know?
I know what you mean. That's what's up.
Exactly. So I would say that for me. So, but like, gentlemen, like, I think there's a lot of power in saying, you know, your vulnerability, and then I've said this on the show before. Watch how someone weaponizes your vulnerability, because if they take that time to not even try to seek out where this is coming from a genuine place, and then even after you take ownership, you should really ask yourself, is this worth putting energy into?
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of our high profile athletes and everyone else gets into, you know, the trouble.
Yeah, facts. That's a really, really good point. It's like you're giving them, it's like you're almost giving them you're giving them that vulnerability. Yeah. You're giving them the opportunity to hurt you potentially. Yeah. And if they decide to hurt you, that's a red flag. Yeah. If they decide to like use that against you, that's a red flag. That's true. Yeah. And I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to get hurt, but it's how you get hurt. Where it's kind of like, just we look at football. You know, you can lay that quarterback out, but you know, I'm gonna shoulder check him. I don't need to take him out the game.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
I don't need to take him out the game. I'm like, I'm gonna let you know I'm here.
Right, gotcha.
And that's how a relationship goes. You gotta let them know you're here, but also you don't need to spearhead them. This ain't WWE to get your point across. Right, exactly. The quarterback going down regardless.
Yeah, true. And it's funny because you said that, because for me, I feel like I look at it differently, and I hope again, I am not perfect. I am not perfect, but I hope.
Neither am I.
I hope I wouldn't be the person that like even still tries to like check the quarterback. You know what I mean? As in like my significant, as in my girlfriend. Like I wouldn't want to be like, hey, you know I can do this, right? I don't even want to feel like I'm in that space of mind. No. It's just more so of like, hey, this is a safe space. I'm sharing, you're sharing, and like we're just gonna keep on moving in that, you know, same team kind of vibe.
I think that checking aspect that you're talking about is only relevant if safety. It's like if it's like a super safety thing where it's kind of like.
I think I know what you mean. Like checking in, like, hey, you mentioned this. Is this what you're feeling?
Oh no! I went to the fucking extreme where it's like I was when you were saying like checking. I'm just kind of like, hey, we can't do this. For me, I go to like super extreme, and I feel like I've only done that like once or twice
Just like
in a relationship, shutting it down because I'm like, all right, these three dudes are getting this idea, and I possibly have to fight those guys. Right. So ayo, stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or there's this thing going on in my family, and it's not that I'm not on your side.
Right.
We're not even going to amp this up any further than it needs to be. I'm not trying to tell you to be quiet because I don't want to hear your point.
Right.
I'm not going to give anyone any more ammo for this because I'm going to be I'm talking to you and I'm talking to them.
Right.
So just because I'm talking to you first doesn't mean I'm not going to say the same thing to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that checks out. That's true.
So, but no, I'm glad we clarified that because I was going to, because like, you know, sometimes and it's not just, it's a two-way thing because like I would want my partner, if I'm going, you know, Bruce Banner Hulk, to be like, hey, come here.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like, chill out.
Right.
You can't tell me what to do.
That's another thing too. But yeah, it's so interesting.
You know how we do. We the dangerous duo. And at this time, we gonna see. We might have our very first commercial right here, and it's actually a commercial from a local therapist in town. Not me.
Oh, gotcha.
Not me. And if you're looking for therapy, you should probably go to her. So we'll be right back, and we got one more topic, and then we're out. Hope y'all enjoyed that commercial break. You know how we do it: growing, changing, evolving. And speaking of evolving and changing, our last topic to get us out of the gate comes from NBA royalty. And I know you've heard of this guy, Stephen Wardell. I believe I said Wardell Curry.
Hey. I'm 30.
She changed basketball for many people. 3-point line is a layup for him. But it was a layup for him because I actually want to give a big shout out to him is his marriage, and I want to give kudos and props to Ayesha and Steph because I believe Kyrie Irving was saying this on a live stream. Only 10% of NBA players who are active still hold on to their marriages. And you can fact check me on that one. It's so hard to be in the league and to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And I think of the Ayesha Currys. I think of
Savannah.
I think of
Savannah.
I think of LeBron. I think of Kyrie. You know, it's hard to be married in the league these days. And I think as men, we hold those relationships sacred because we be like, you know, when we get there, we want a Savannah, we want an Ayesha.
Yeah, right.
But
someone to hold it down.
Exactly. But recently, Ayesha was on another podcast.
Ayesha,
and she was on the Call Her Daddy podcast, and she had some comments about how her relationship with Steph, when they were very first meeting, especially in high school, she wasn't feeling him.
Thought I was feeling you.
He called that nigga a munch. Okay.
Oh man, that's
so funny. That was one thing they took from the show, and then Also, Ayesha was kind of given the question and how she explained herself, and one of the explanations she was giving was that she expected Steph to be a high school basketball coach, and she never expected all this greatness that he's been around, and how she thought she was going to be the it girl. And I find it very interesting to hear, because when we talk about good examples for black men, I think black men really don't have good men to really look up to. And we put all the stock in these basketball players because we think they're making the right decisions, and we're assuming that their partner is going to big them up anytime they get the opportunity. And I've seen a lot of comments about how Ayesha, that was the wrong thing to say in that interview, and it makes it feel like she is jealous and wasn't expecting Steph to be this great. And before I ask you my question, Tommy, another reason why this went big is Killer Mike Killer Mike,
ATL legend,
commented on this because there was a TikToker and the guy made a TikToker and he's like, Ayesha Curry there again, and like he was like hating on Steph, and then Killer Mike made a comment. Oh, the TikToker had like a long funny monologue and said like, all right, Ayesha Curry's trying to be like Glorilla. And then Killer Mike made a comment about what the TikToker said, and then Steph Curry made a comment what Killer Mike said, and he's like Killer Mike, I can't believe you're feeding into this. And then I think they talked behind the scenes. So I'm gonna break this down. Thank y'all for staying with me. So what is it like to hear Ayesha Curry talk about Steph Curry in that way? Just how does that feel to you? How does her comments come off to you?
And and you and I talked about this before this, and you gave an interesting perspective. She is speaking her truth, right?
Yes.
She's speaking how she feels, but then there was also like a part of, there was a part of me that was like, oh, like, is she kind of like upset that Steph is the one? I didn't want to say he's the one, but Steph has like all this kind of notoriety and popularity. But I'm also like, that's your husband. Like, you're with him too. Like, he doesn't strike me as a person that's gonna like kind of leave her in the dust or leave her in the shadows and everything. So the way I've heard past comments and the way I've heard this comments is that she strikes me as like someone who's trying to get in the limelight as well. Yeah. But so I don't want to just pin it. I don't want to just pin it as that, because I think she deserves the limelight as her own. Like we mentioned, she has her own. She's got her own stuff going on as well, and she deserves all the credit in the world for everything that she's got going on too. But it just had me thinking both sides, basically, of like, hey, like, is there something there? Just a little bit suspicious, but also there is some validity to it. That's her truth. She's speaking the truth.
Yeah, I think I would, encourage you guys to watch the Call Her Daddy podcast to kind of hear that perspective too as well. I think what we were talking off camera is we as a populace will never know her intention, right? But also the question how it was asked, that's how she's answering, so that is her truth. And is it wrong for her to say that? No. But we still can't ignore the impact of what it may feel. Right. Now, based upon how Steph responded to Killer Mike, because we don't know what they're saying behind closed doors, because that narrative of like, maybe Steph does feel that way, but maybe he doesn't. But maybe they're talking about it and like they have some like agreements. But we can't ignore the impact of what it sounds like. It sounds like it comes from a place of competitiveness. It comes from a place of like, Steph, I want to get out of Steph's shadow. And I don't think Steph is the type of a husband and dude to be like, no, you're my shadow. I feel like he's like, I'm a limelight sharer. But as many times as Steph could possibly say that to her, right? It goes back to the $1 million relationship. Maybe he is doing his 30% of support, but a lot of that 70% has to come within her. Like she has to see what she does has value, because when I look at Steph and his career, was he in the game shooting the shots and making that, making history but he couldn't do that if things weren't going how they were going at home with Ayesha.
Down. Yeah,
exactly, because just as much as he is great,
she is great.
She's great because she allows him to have that place to come home. And I just think of, you know, that greatness of like after a long game being able to come back home into that environment, my kids are safe. Like just as much as Steph broke that record, Ayesha helped him break that record. And I like, for me, it's kind of like, at least publicly, and I'll end it with this and I'll kick it to you. I look at when Michelle Obama talked about not liking Barack for like 10, I think 10 years in their marriage, I feel like it takes like it takes cotton flexibility to kind of get where she was saying and going with it. Like, I get it, what you're talking about. There's going to be periods. It's also like when you talk about a negative point in the relationship, there should always be the triumph at the end of it. Because even though I didn't like that Barack, or even though I feel these ways about Steph, our relationship allowed us to persevere. I feel like that has to always end it, because you look at things when they say every time you say something negative, even if something that you've conquered in the past, you have to say 3 positive things to not let it stick. And I feel like that's important when you're talking about trauma, when you're talking about triumph of like old negative thought patterns. And I think Ayesha does live in the past a little bit, and just from what I hear, because I could be totally wrong too, but
to give her the benefit of the doubt too, it's like they asked her a question about the past, right? Like they asked her, I mean, I haven't even seen I gotta watch the full thing as well too, but it's like when she's asked like to reminisce, she's asked about these, she's asked these questions too, so that's why it may feel like she is living in the past, but also again too, like we said it, I'm gonna give her credit too. Like we both give her credit. Like she, not only has she held it down at home, with having beautiful kids, being a beautiful wife to Steph, and all that kind of stuff, doing all the things that she does. She has her own, ventures that she's done.
She does,
and she's outright like her own individual. So I didn't want to be like, oh, she's just Steph's wife. Like she also has her own lane, which I appreciate, which I love and admire and stuff like that too. So in a sense, I do hope she feels like she kind of has that.
She does, if I'm being honest with you, or like I think if she was listening to the show, I hope you do know that you have your own, like,
Ayesha, we love you.
He just it was on me when he did that, but he pointed at you.
You and Steph, real ones.
Yeah. So I think for me, or it's kind of like, for me, it's like, how can you not see that you have so much worth? Like, you've owned restaurants, you've been on TV shows where like, it's not to the magnitude of, changing the landscape of a sport, but like, it's also getting into, can you be grateful and have content, because you create the opportunities for a lot of different people. And Curry is not just Curry's last name is your last name, and it's a lineage that you guys share, and I would just hope that she's not competing with him, because I think genuinely he's the type of dude that a lot of dudes strive to be, where like if I am the breadwinner, I'm gonna take care of my family in this way. And I think for you, Ayesha, it's like the competitiveness of like a power couple, because like everyone strives to want to be a power couple. A power couple is being able to, and when I say know your roles, right, it's being like, all right, this is what you do, this is what I do, and I'm going to shine so well in this role. And when it's time to switch roles, we're going to do different things, because I think if the roles were reversed, if, Curry wanted to retire, I know he would, and she went to work, he would give that same type of, respect and, and that valor. And I think, I don't know, Steph, hope I do get to meet you one day. I think he is always bigged her up, and I think he's never tried to cage her into and make her into like a caged bird. And I think for her, for whatever she's trying to chase or have done, I don't want her to forget that the most beautiful thing that she created was this marriage and those kids.
Facts. That's real.
So to kind of end this out, kind of leave with a skill. T, How do you deal with competitiveness in relationships in these days? How do you deal with that?
That is a beautiful question. That's a tough question. You know what's funny? I think one way is what you said. I think you said it. You said what your barber said. And the opposite of jealousy is an appreciation or is a thankfulness. And I think as like if ever that arises, even just in general too, like there's switching that feeling of jealousy, switching that feeling of like coveting to like a feeling of appreciation. Like, oh, I think I said it a few weeks ago, like, they act like two goats can't coexist. It was a Drake that said it, or J. Cole that said it. It's like, we can all win. Like, we can all win. Like, your shining doesn't mean I can't shine.
Yeah.
Your glory doesn't mean that, I am less of who I am as well, too. So, I think for me, a way to, like, deal with, or as a work in progress for sure, is just like, I appreciate, like, this is who I'm with. I love her for who she is. And I get to be on this journey with her. So, that's more of like a way to like kind of be on it. It's like a learning process, but it's a way to kind of deal with that.
All right. I'm gonna hit y'all with an easy thing to do. It's free 99.
Free 99.
I've done this before. Probably need to start doing this a little bit more again. Is get some note cards, get some small little notes, pen, little envelopes, and because sometimes it's hard to do these out of the day because we're all busy, but write things you appreciate about your partner that they've done recently and put them in odd places in your house that your partner's gonna be. And you might forget them. I know I forgot them sometimes.
Wow.
And it'd be, it's a great alley-oop to yourself. Or you write something you appreciate about what they recently have done that's hard or not as hard or just whatever. And, they open up their makeup bag and they're like, what, you wrote me a note? You like, yeah. Because I feel like that's a, fun way to, show your partner that, we're together.
Yeah, right.
So
that's true. Yeah, man, it's keeping that. I think keeping that curiosity, letting them know that you still care, you still find them attractive, beautiful, smart, whatever it is. That's really good. That's good.
And
I'm gonna apply that right now. Take notes. I'm gonna take notes myself.
Yeah, and nothing that you're doing and what I'm doing is gonna separate us. It's only gonna elevate us. Then I think that's the most important thing.
I love that. That's a bar right there.
Girl, you chosen. Fuck it up.
That's a bar. Nothing. What is it? You gotta say it. Nothing. You said it. Say again. Nothing you say is gonna separate. It's only gonna elevate. You gotta say that again.
Nothing should separate us. Only elevate us.
Bars.
Hey, dang.
Bars. That's free 99 right there.
If he say that, the ad-libs ain't for free from this guy. Well, that's pretty much it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed. This is another installment. I will definitely probably say this is probably one of the last relationship dynamics. I would think we got one more relationship dynamics, then we'll have an announcement for you guys. But, as always, it's Cartier Rob.
Tommy the Disciple.
And we're out.
Peace.